sick. Tomorrow you tack a smallpox sign on the cabin. They'll think I'm in bed."
Ples thought about it, sucking at his pipe.
"Johnny, it's 200 miles to the Dalles. If they pick up your tracks, you're a gone chicken."
"Follow the dice," said Johnny, and opened the door and stepped into a full mountain darkness. Cabin lights and campfires glimmered through the trees and along the gulch below him, and men's voices drifted in the windless air. He took the trail to the creek bottom, threaded his way past tents and gravel piles thrown back from bedrock, and came upon Canyon City's shanties wedged at the bottom of the ravine. The sound of the saloons reached out to him. He turned into the Blue Bucket, stumbling slightly. He saw a few friends at the poker tables and nodded to them in a drawn and gloomy manner, and he made a place for himself at the bar beside Pete Hewitt. The saddle-faced barkeep was at the far end of the counter, talking to a man whose face Johnny couldn't see at the moment. The barkeep broke off the talk long enough to bring Johnny a bottle and glass and went back to his talk. Johnny took his cheer straight and poured another. The barkeep was at the edge of his vision. He noted the man's eyes roll toward him.
Pete Hewitt said, "What the hell's the matter with you, Johnny?"
"I ache. I'm hot. I'm cold. I feel terrible."
"Ague. Get good and drunk."
Johnny eased his weight on the footrail, swinging enough to have a look at the man with the barkeep. It was Buck Miller, no question. Big nose, face the color of an old gray boulder, a set of rough and raking eyes. Johnny called the barkeep back to pay for his drinks. He said to Hewitt, "I'm going to bed, and I'm not getting up for a week." Leaving the saloon, he remembered a chore and dropped into the mercantile to buy caps for his revolver. When he came from the store, he noticed Buck Miller in the doorway of the Blue Bucket, staring directly at him. Short gusts of sensation wavered up and down the back of Johnny's neck as he traveled the stony gulch back to the cabin. No question about it, he thought. He's got his mind made up for that dust. Ples met him in the yard's darkness and murmured restlessly, "Come on." He followed Ples along the creek to a corral which boxed in a bit of the hillside and found the horses packed to go. He tried his cinches and patted the saddlebags. There were 2 sets of bags, one behind his saddle and one hooked to a light rig thrown over the spare horse. Ples said,
"Bacon and bread's in your blanket roll. Coffee, too. But get along without it, Johnny. A fire means trouble."
"Gotta have coffee, trouble or no trouble."
"Tobacco and matches there. It's Thad's rifle in the boot. Shoots better than yours."
Johnny Potter stepped to his saddle, taking hold of the lead rope. Thad whispered,
"Listen."
And the 3 of them were stone still, dredging the night with their senses. A few stray sounds drifted up the slope. A shape passed across the beam of a campfire.
"Somebody around the cabin,"
whispered Thad.
"Get out of here, Johnny."
Ples said in his kind and troubled voice,
"Don't hold no foolish notions. If you get in a vise, dump the damn dust and run."
Johnny turned up the ravine, reached the first bench of the hill, and paralleled the gulch as it ran northward toward the wider meadows of the John Day, 2 miles distant. He was tight with the first strain of this affair. He listened for the sound of a gun behind him. He made quick search of himself for things done right or done wrong, and presently he fell down the hill into the John Day and saw the dull glittering of the creek's ford ahead of him. He held back a moment. There were lights along the valley, from other diggings and other cabins, and the trail was well traveled by men going to and coming from Canyon City. At this moment he neither saw nor heard anybody, and left the shadows of the hill, and soon crossed the creek. The racket of his horses in the water was a signal soon answered, for looking behind him, Johnny saw a shape slide out of the canyon shadows and come to the ford. Johnny swung from the trail at once and put himself into the willows beside the river. He waited, hearing the rider cross the water and pass down the trail perhaps 200 feet, and there stop and remain motionless